So beginning our life coaching debrief, did I do what I said I'd do during life coaching to support your learning style?
Yes, you did.
Good deal. I had a little bit of trouble at the beginning, not knowing quite where to put the camera, but then I relocated it, and I think that worked out better. And I tried as best I could to let children know I'm just watching today and explain. They could want to know why the camera was there.
Yes.
Even though we've told them. Please self-reflect on the life coaching experience today.
I found it, it felt really good doing it and stuff, but boy, at that one cleanup time, that's the hot spot. I mean, it was like I could just not write fast enough. And I really found almost what I was doing is more like taking an anecdotal record, because it would be, okay, this is what happened, and then, oh, look, she did it. Okay, but I've already written that, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that she complied. And then this is what's happening next. They asked her to do this, and, okay, she's half doing that, but now she's doing this, which kind of looks like an avoidance. So it was more like an anecdotal record, so I did find that when I came back, I needed to go back through and pick out where are the incidents, and then to kind of clean up the sheet and stuff. I also discovered that I think if I'm going to be using this in a kind of a real life kind of thing, that I'd want to make the boxes a little bigger. I was just having a hard time writing everything I was wanting to write in those little boxes, because I mean, there's the be concise, but then there's the other part of me that's saying you don't want to miss an important detail. And so, and even at times thinking, is this behavior the consequence or the antecedent? Because sometimes they were kind of like all the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of consequences end up being an antecedent to another one of her specific behaviors, And so trying to figure out where all those kinds of things are, So, and finding out when does the specific behavior end and when does the consequence begin. Like when Adeline was, Leticia said, hey, can we play a little bit with Diego? And she says no. And then I was writing the consequence as the teacher's asking why not. And then she's saying, I want to play with you. And I was like, oh, really? That was all part of that specific behavior, because then the consequence, and the important consequence, was that Letty ended up staying and playing with her for a while. And so it's almost like, and again, I'm assuming that the more I get comfortable with this, the easier it's going to be for me to be picking out what's important and what's not, and knowing when to kind of start and stop in each area. And I think because it's new, it's ending up being more anecdotal. And so I think that's probably part of the learning curve.
And what occurred to me too is, because you're such an experienced teacher, it's a lot easier for you to put in all those details and to observe more details, like you were explaining. And so there's certainly nothing wrong with that at all, because you're able to gather more information. And part of it is you were able to gather so much information because that's all you had to do. You were teaching at the same time, right?
If I was teaching at the same time, I don't even know. Well, I just keep thinking to myself, there's Miss Eck who asked her to clean that table, but she can't just be watching Adeline to make sure she's going right back there. So she does part of it, and then she wanders off, and other teachers are engaging her in cleaning because they don't know that she was there. And so it's like, this 5 minutes afterwards, oh wait, you were supposed to do this. And I find that a lot of time what happens to me is that some other kid has gone over and said, oh, this needs to be done, and then they do it, and that follow through doesn't happen. But I
Sure.
think that's part of life of the room.
Right.
And I mean that can't be 100% perfect, because that's just part of the life of the room, and sometimes you can catch that and, oh, that's so awesome, but I really need Adeline to finish up her job here.
So that experience that you've had teaching all these years, you're able to pick out a whole lot more that's happening in the big picture than, say, maybe a brand new teacher. And so what's nice about these tools is that it's perfectly fine to add more information to it, but it's also okay to have something quick and 1 or 2 words in there, which wouldn't be overwhelming to a new teacher. This might be overwhelming to a new teacher. You want me to do what?
Cleanup
But
table
see,
only
this
does half.
isn't overwhelming to you because you know what you're looking for. You know what information you're gathering and what it means to you, and so forth. So definitely a strength. And then I want to talk some more. I want to give some more specific feedback as we go through. But let's go ahead and, if you're ready, let's go ahead and watch the video and score it together. And do you want to still do it the same way we've been doing it, where we watch and if we decide to pause?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay.
And I think we can probably already do some of those first things again too, the
Yes,
individualizing.
I agree.
Know that the sheets have been individualized for Adeline for this day.
For both the scatter plot and the ABC.
And the ABC, yeah.
Data sheet. I marked that next.
And then the communicating objective will be on there. Playing with the teaching staff will be on there. But then the gathering of materials
You had that when you walked in the
is
door.
evidenced, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that.
It was almost like you were coming in for the day, so you had it in hand. If you had been in the classroom, then you would go and get it from wherever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so are we ready?
For the video.
And then we can fast forward where we need to. So. There were 3 teachers.
was, yeah.
Okay, what I really liked about that, you did go to individual teachers this time, and you did it very respectfully. You did it naturally, the way you would be interacting with them, and you did it in a way that wasn't interrupting the children. You know, it wasn't causing any any problems. You know, so I just thought that really went well.
Well, and I think the teachers too did a really, really good job. Like when I was going over to tell May, a kid came up to her to show her something, and she immediately looked away from me to interact with the child. And so I think that you know, this, I thought of it at the time, and I didn't say anything, but that makes me think I should give them feedback and say thank you so much for interacting with them.
Right, because they're the priority.
I really do. Yeah, appreciate that you did that. Yeah, and I'm really happy that they do that.
So that's met. Okay.
Okay.
Well, both of them, 2 and 3, were met.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to fast forward?
Yes, I think we can fast forward to the sensory tab, because nothing happened before sensory tab time.
I don't know what those were that they were playing with, what they're called.
They're little cornstarch noodles, and they're used for packing. That's primarily what they're used for. But then someone discovered the reason why people like them for packing is because they're biodegradable, because they're made out of cornstarch. So they just disintegrate in water. But then someone discovered, oh, if you just get it barely wet, they stick together. So it's this great building medium.
I've never seen
and so
that.
now they're being marketed in different colors.
She was really enjoying that activity.
She really was. Well, and she wasn't building with them. She just wanted to play with the water. She was just having so much fun playing with that water, that sponge in that bucket. There's definitely a joy there.
I wonder if it's even on this video.
It's probably not until you move it to the other, until you move the camera to the other spot. Yes, I bet it is that next video.
Okay, so I still need to, how do I go to the next video quickly? I still have to close it.
Let's click the minimize button and see if all the things are right there.
Aha! You want to fast forward to,
You can until Leticia comes back, because that was when Egg was like, Leticia, come here.
oh,
I think we'll be fine here.
okay. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Oh, see right there. No, I'm not. That was that first incident. Fast forward a little bit.
Sure.
Pretty soon she's going to back off. Oh, that's right, it was after the cleanup order. You stay here. I'm going to watch you guys. Oh, she has that little white container right now. She puts it down and he picks it up.
Yeah, little struggle there. Want that panda?
And then she's just doing the ignore Leticia. Give it to me now.
Oh, now that's why she started to do that. See, I missed that. Right, what happened right before she started taking the water out and squeezing it outside the tub. And then on to the teacher.
Give it to me now. And she's saying it with this little smile. That was a different behavior, but she'd say, you can't keep it on the table, you're going to need to leave and go play somewhere else. Okay, now we won't have anything until cleanup time.
Okay.
Oh, so we just started singing the cleanup song. It's time to clean up, he says as he keeps on playing.
At least he acknowledges it. she just very
Whatever.
quietly
Just keeps going.
ignores and keeps playing.
There's our first consequence. Clean up, ignore. So she's going to close the tub. And she asks her to put her shirt away. says.
And then I believe we start
And she
meandering.
engages her right here and says, I want you to clean up this table.
And
She picks up the 2 flowers. But then she tells her, ask your friends whose they are. So that's part of that. That was a permission meander. She had permission to meander forever with those flowers. I thought, wow, you just got it. Ask your friends. I would have totally been like, put them on the counter and just put everything else in the bucket. That was a great little look of exasperation. That was so cute. And X says, I have an idea, ask your brother, who's right behind her right now. But she doesn't ask him. He wanders over here to Miss May. Here, smell the flower, Miss May. Redirects. And then she asks brother. She got around there eventually.
She's kind of a smooth operator.
Yes.
You know?
Well, she did eventually get there. And then she asks, what do you want to clean? She sees her touch the bucket. All right, and she gives her very specific instructions. Here's the cups, you know where they go, everything in here. All the pieces in the bucket. So she gets the cups and puts those away. So there's our half thing, and then she comes to the table. Oh, I don't want to put all those in there. So she wanders to the other table. But she cleans at the other table. She picks up the Play-Doh bucket.
Yeah, she does. I was just noticing, it's interesting how some of those smooth operators like this, they get missed.
Oh, it's so easy.
Teachers, it's so easy for teachers to even miss all that because they're not disrupting. They're just doing their own thing.
Oh, and see, there's one that I missed, and this is that other thing that you see from Adeline. She's holding that little bucket. And she comes over and look, this girl has Play-Doh. And she's showing her the Play-Doh, so she puts it on top of her head.
Out of reach.
That's that little refusal, hold it up thing that I missed.
Like the stickers and the...
I know I'm a little bit taller than you, and I can put it up above my head and you can't get it. May immediately engages her, and she gets it put up. And of course, she has to open the lid for the girl to put the Play-Doh in. And I can close it. I think he likes to feel some sense of power. Puts it away, and then sits down with all the kids. And it says, looks like the table's not clean. Oh, and she told her something, and F just said okay. And went to clean it. I don't know what she told her. I just noticed that I had said before, Adeline, it looks like the table's not done. And she pointed to her, and she looks at her and smiles. Looks like, goes over and cleans it up herself. I don't know what Adeline told her to do though. Just that. That's the other thing, even when you're just staring at one kid, there's always things you're gonna miss. You can never catch anything. Right, and I think that was the end of what I had for her.
Okay, so we don't need to see any more of the classroom.
No.
And if we minimize this,
It'll keep rolling if you just minimize.
oh. So, but what if I change the
And you go down here. No, it'll keep rolling. It'll keep going forever. Yeah, I think so.
Like for eternity?
You'll have both of them talking on top of each other.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. So it was this last one?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's the coming back and organizing. We can skip through most of this too. Because most of this is just me writing.
I know. Very expressive. Why am I making that face?
The students that
really a lot of those are focusing around the sharing, or is it really more about that having control? And this is why I was asking about that one thing, what happened directly before the taking the bucket
really
The cleaning
insightful.
Darius joins the table and picks up the black bucket. Adeline grabs the bucket. But I'm wondering, I think an important part of that story might be that Adeline was really working on trying to get Letty to be there and so enjoyed that one-on-one interaction. And then that happens right after Letty says, I'm going to stand back. And then there's this kind of power struggle between Letty and Adeline where she's not. And does this very sarcastic remark, that was really keeping Leticia there. Because Leticia's like, well, she just got
She really didn't seem to be enjoying trying to get Leticia back after that. It seemed like it was about the bucket when the bucket happened, but he very quickly turned to Leticia.
Right, right.
And so then the cleanup was just, that was
Seeing that on the video now.
Mhm.
oh, she complied. Now it just kind of looks like she's complying without complying. And now, I mean, it became really hard for me to do that flow because I see comply, comply, not comply, comply, half comply, not comply. And so trying to mark that was a little bit different. But again, I can see this trend of, and I would almost alter my trend a little bit in the cleanup before it seems like she's really avoiding cleanup. And it really felt like the trend this time wasn't necessarily avoiding cleanup,
Can I pause it?
avoiding, avoiding other people making her choices.
So I just wanted to clarify here, since you're still in live coaching, I was trying not to respond too much to it
Mm-hmm.
because in my mind you're processing this alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you're processing it alone, but you're processing it out loud.
That's what I felt
You know,
like too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that you didn't feel like I was just
No.
ignoring you.
No. and
Okay.
I did feel like it was my job at this point to be processing it
Okay.
and doing it
That
out
was
loud.
exactly right.
So people
Okay.
do what the processing was at.
To be more based upon power. And so I'm thinking as a next step, what I would be looking at is, I think I would probably focus specifically on either that free play time and see how much is she doing things to try to get that kind of attention and control that we were kind of talking about, or choose to really focus on just the cleanup and see if those refusals and that ignoring around cleanup, try to get data and see if that's a continuing trend. Is she avoiding cleaning altogether, or is she avoiding doing, is it more an avoidance of the command? Because I see her cleaning things up, but I don't see her necessarily cleaning up what the teachers are asking her to. Those kinds of things, it was like a comply and then a non-comply. So that's what I would want to check out next. And to make that decision, then I would be sitting down with the staff and saying, so this is what I'm going for. Would you like to really focus on cleanup, or would you like to really focus on centers? And see where they would like to go with that, which one that they feel that they would want to go for. So I think that's where my next observation would really be focused on, to see if we can really figure out, is this about her just needing to have a little bit of control and choice during that cleanup, and how much is she really just looking for some control and attention in that replay. And so I would get these figures and then we would safe little house over here, and until the time I would be able to meet with the teachers to go over that information and go over it with them. So, you saw the camera, and we started.
All right. So we have the observations,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we had our little file there. That's labeled in that locked cabinet. And I analyzed the data and thought out some next steps.
So I'm wondering, and I could be wrong on partially met for create a file. If we were just going by the rubric for just today, did you label the file during this activity?
I did not label it during this activity because it was labeled from our
Right.
last activity.
Right, so what do you think? Should we mark it partial or?
If we were being to the T on here, then it would have to be marked partial.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be so easy to do because you already had a label file from
Mm-hmm.
behavior rehearsal. Okay. Let's see, what else? Okay, we got that. And definitely met. Analyzing the data and the next steps. So, moving on. So, I was talking about feedback earlier on how you did a really nice job individually talking to the